All right, well, Viddal, tell us about being on a Mike Tyson card. I'm sure you never in a million years saw you be on a card headlined by him and Roy Jones. I mean, you've been on big cards, obviously, Manny Pacquiao and Adrian Broner, but what's it like being on a card featuring those two legends?
Well, it's another big, step up, another stepping stone. When we're looking at how my career has progressed, we've done nothing but groundbreaking things, and this early in my career to be on a show that big just goes to show, I'm in the right hands, doing the right things, getting the right results, and it's just another stage for me to show off, really, and that's what I like to do.
So you're going to be trying to get changed and do your medicals and all that stuff real quick, because I'm sure you're going to be watching that fight.
Yeah, of course. It's going to be a exciting fight because anything I do is exciting. And and it's gonna be it's an honor at the same time. It's like I owe the legends that are headlining the event to perform, to show the standard that's gonna be maintained throughout the show. I'm putting that responsibility on myself, so very exciting.
Amer, what's it mean for you? I mean, you have Badou and Viddal, guys that you manage. What's it like having them on this card? I know you work with Roy and Mike in some business dealings, but these are your two fighters. What's it like having them being involved in an event like this?
Good question, Jody. 3 days ago, we were putting together the deck, and we were highlighting the fighters, and my wife walked in while I was at the final page, and it had Mike, Roy, Badou, and Viddal. She goes, look at that. She goes, look who our guys, we're a family. She goes, look who our guys are on a card with. Look, Badou's been on the biggest stages in the world, Floyd, McGregor, and just headlining his own cards, but this is a different magnitude of an event. It's extremely humbling. It's extremely, it's an honor. I hate using those redundant words and those cliches, but it really, I don't have any words to fulfill my gratitude and my thanks. And how big of a stage it is, and how big of an event, and a historic event it's going to be. Man, everybody's going to be watching this event. Everybody's going to be watching this event. It's huge. It's huge.
No fight's a fight off. Every time you go in there, you can lose, and you don't want to take any fight for granted. But Badou's been, 8 world champions in a row or something like that. He's fighting a guy 13-0, Blake McKernan, a guy a lot of us aren't familiar with. What was the strategy in getting someone like him for this fight? And, like I said, I don't want to say he's taking a step back, but, someone that doesn't have the resume of the guys Badou's been in there with recently.
Badou is the only guy in boxing today that's fought 8 world champions back-to-back, and we have a 9th world champion lined up. But especially during this pandemic, and people are getting paid, half the fee, a quarter of the fee of what they're getting, because, the gate is a big part of your purse, and fans in the seats account for a quarter, if not a third, of the promoter's revenue. So why not have Badou take advantage of an opportunity like this? And I have to give a big shout out to Floyd and Leonard Ellerby, who were 100% supportive of Badou and Viddal fighting on this card. And Leonard said, man, whatever, we've got to do what's good for Badou's career. And what's good for his career now is taking this fight against Blake, who is 13-0, undefeated guy. We don't sleep on anybody. Guys like that can get lucky, and he's an up-and-coming guy. And Badou deserves to have a fight where he can show off his skill, and before he gets right back into title contention. But we're not overlooking this guy. This guy's coming to fight. They're talking a good game, and they're expecting to keep that O at the end of the night. But we expect Badou to have a great night, as we do with Viddal.
So for both of you, main events, an exhibition fight. Viddal and Badou's both fights are sanctioned fights. I know there was some back and forth. Maybe it's going to be an exhibition, other opponents kind of thing. So how did it kind of come down ultimately that these are both going to be professional fights, not exhibitions? And how did the other opponents that were rumored, what happened with those guys?
Well, I'll tell you candidly, who we had lined up for who, and we had a pretty big MMA name lined up for Badou. We had some of the MMA royalty. For Viddal, it was King Mo, and Mo was very excited on doing it, and he was still a part of it. And then, they started talking about it being a real fight because they didn't want 4 exhibitions on the card, which I agree with wholeheartedly. I think 4 exhibitions is hard to sit through. Mike and Roy can sell themselves because of who they are and how exciting that'll be, but having 4 exhibitions, I agree. I think it was a great decision, an exciting decision. So putting Viddal as a real fight. Mo's at a stage of his career where he doesn't have to reprove himself in a brand new sport. He's MMA royalty, and I totally agree with him that.
Literally.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, no pun intended. He doesn't have to reprove himself, and he actually is. Rashad is from Mo's stable, so he's the one that put us together with him.
Viddal, I'm sure you're glad this is a professional fight as opposed to exhibition. Were you prepared to do the exhibition if necessary?
Say that one more time.
I mean, were you content to do an exhibition as long as you're on this card? And
Of course, because I can see the bigger picture. You know, as much as building my record is a priority, also is the experience and getting used to being on big cards, you know, where I want to headline these shows one day, getting a lot of spotlight on me, getting a lot of attention. As you know, I look at myself as a brand, not as a fighter. I look at myself as a brand. So even as an exhibition fight, it's a big brand building opportunity, and being in this 21st century of being a fighter is very important. So exhibition, real fight obviously is a bonus for me. That's like great. And another way to just notch up my record, 5-0. Been a difficult year, as we know. Didn't really know if we're going to get back in the ring. But to be back in the ring on this show, 5-0 opportunity, yeah, I can't complain.
how are you going to keep this up? Let's see, your first fight, you're on a Manny Pacquiao card. Second I think it was second fight. Oh yeah, first fight was in Tijuana. Second fight was in a Manny Pacquiao card. Third fight, you were on one of the first boxing cards in Dubai, headlining the Badu Jack card. Here you are on a Mike Tyson. Now, how are you going to keep doing these? You know, you're not going to be able to have a normal fight going forward.
Well, you know, progress is not one way. It doesn't just go up. You know, it has its little dips and its rises. So, you know, when we have the little dips, we know we're coming back big. We know we're coming back again with a bang. But I'm putting that pressure on myself. Oh no, I have to top this. The only thing I do that with is the performance, not the level of the show. So as long as my performances are going up, I'm happy. Where they happen, I don't care. We're gonna get to the ultimate goal, which is the world champion.
Speaking of that, last question for you, Amer. What do you want to see out of this guy? You know, he's been over there in England, so he hasn't been here like he should have been, but, you know, due to the COVID thing, what's a successful night besides, obviously, him getting his hand raised?
If you don't mind me, Jody, touching on what you just said, Viddal's job is to fight. My job and our team's job is to line him up with big fights, and I think that we've done that very well in the beginning. I think we've probably done it, yeah, a little bit. I think we've done it at an unprecedented rate for somebody with 5 fights that's been on the stages that he has and made the money that he has. I think it's unprecedented. That's one. 2, that same thing can actually hurt you, because if we start putting him on where guys should be starting in the first 10 fights, which is just club shows, I'm not saying he's going to get bored. I'm saying that it's different for him, is that we've already raised that level and he's got a huge following. You know, they're expecting to see all of these next things, but I don't want Viddal's brand, like he said it, you know, I don't want his brand to be involved with YouTube boxing. Not that I don't respect it, not that I'm not a fan of it. I just don't want him to be a YouTube boxing guy, because Viddal is not a YouTube boxer. Viddal is a real legitimate boxer that happens to train YouTube guys and happen to have his own YouTube channel, which you should all subscribe to.
Yeah.
But he's...
What is it? You should know now.
It's Viddal.
It's Viddal.
Viddal's is YouTube.
Yeah, just first name only. That's how we do it. Even on my fight kit. On my fight kit, we only put my first name.
Yeah.
It's different, so we just roll with it.
So it's, you know, we're trying to build that. Jody, you said it before. You know, it's a business disguised as a sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's definitely Jody's.
Yeah, and so that's how we're branding this thing, and we're building it. Now, what was your first question?
Just what do you want to see out of him? You know, he's had we'll say an unconventional camp here. It just seems like every camp is, but this one here.
After his last fight, by the way, at Samstown, that's what I was going to answer. So his last fight at Samstown, the highest viewed Mayweather Promotions card on Showbox ever.
And it was #1 trending video in the world.
And the #1 trending video in the world when he fought. So he's got that fan base, and that is going to resonate, and it's going to turn in being able to monetize it, where he can, you know, use that to live a comfortable lifestyle. But so now what we want to see is just win after win. He went home originally, Jody, to be home for 2 weeks, and we're going to come right back and have a busy schedule. And then, you know, this pandemic hit, and, you know, life happened, which nobody saw it coming, and we had to bring him back here, and, you know, that was a little bit of a process. But now he's here in Vegas. He's training in Vegas, and we're looking to keep him here. Leonard's going to keep him busy. We're going to keep him busy. We've got the best team in boxing put together. We really do.